Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as it will be turning cooler and more unsettled as we do move into the weekend and start off next week. Now at the moment it's fairly warm, we've got pretty warm air mass over the top of us. We could even be seeing quite a hot plume arriving overnight tonight, not really impacting the surface temperatures, but it could bring the risk of some big thunderstorms in the south through tomorrow, really only impacting coastal areas and could drift inland, with the most severe storms probably staying in the Channel or across northern France. Elsewhere, low pressure is starting to move in, and it will influence us by giving us more showers and, as I said, cooler air masses as we head into the weekend, with those temperatures dropping from the mid to high 20s at the moment that we have in some spots down to the low 20s at best. As we head into the longer range as well, it's looking likely to be a fairly westerly pattern as we do end August and start September. Not looking horrible, but not looking particularly great either. Plenty of precipitation around on the ensembles, and plenty of temperatures around the average, or maybe even below average at times. So not a particularly great outlook in the longer term. The jet stream could be really powering up as well if we do start to see some of those tropical systems that are out in the mid-Atlantic at the moment start to influence us in the next couple of weeks. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. To start on the live radar, you can see there are a few light showers further northwards, especially through Scotland, maybe down into the Irish Sea, and that is the signs that low pressure is starting to move in, increasing that shower risk. Elsewhere though, for the majority of England and Wales, it's a warm and sunny day with temperatures peaking in the mid to high 20s today, 27-28 degrees being observed at the moment in a few spots. But if we look just to our south, you see more shower activity across northern France, and you can see some quite heavy thunderstorms breaking out just off the west coast of northern France here, and is that real hot, unstable air moving in, and the latest models have it clipping the south coast from sort of the Southampton to Kent region. This area here could be susceptible of some thunderstorms, and their northern extent could even just about get into the London area, depending on its positioning. Not expecting a widespread massive thunderstorm outbreak, but we could see some quite lively activity along the south and southeast coastal areas. It's going to be very active, which is very unsure on the positioning of it, whether it will stay mainly out across northern France, into the Channel, or pushing into parts of southern England. As we'll see in the UKV in a minute, it does produce some quite heavy rain in places through tomorrow and overnight tonight, but just a lot of uncertainty how far inland it will spread. So if we look at the temperatures at the moment, just after 4 p.m, really quite a warm day, especially for eastern England and southern England into South Wales. As I said, widely mid to high 20s. It's even hotter across parts of France, and look at that, insanely hot condition with temperatures peaking around the 40-degree mark, but you can see where thunderstorms are breaking out, cooling down those temperatures quite substantially, as we do see those triggering in the very hot plume that is heading northward and is going to skim our shores over the next 24 hours. We'll be able to see that on the latest UKV. So you run through this afternoon, you can see pretty dry for most areas, sunny as well, but a few showers in the north and the west. Overnight tonight, more showers will push into the north and west, and look out to our south. Some big thunderstorms start to take off, and even towards the M4 line we could see some showers for the most intense thunderstorms across the Channel Islands, the northern parts of France and the Channel in general, and through the early parts of tomorrow morning could move inland, giving some quite heavy rain, especially on the immediate coast, but as I said, could even push into the London area in those southern and eastern parts, while these storms do sort of decay away and move out into the Irish Sea. And behind that, we'll all go into some fresher air for Thursday afternoon into the evening. Still could be some heavier showers in the southeast as that hot plume pulls away. And again, a lot of uncertainty with that, but there could be some quite heavy rain around in places tomorrow. And then further northwards and west, you can see a bit of a spiral of those showers. That's a weak low pressure system moving in. That's going to come a bit of cut off over the next couple of days, just giving us plenty of showers and a fresher air mass. Into Friday, just a widespread day of sunshine and showers, heavy in places, but really quite scattered, so it could be very hit and miss. As we progress into Saturday, less showers in some spots, but still a widespread risk of shower activity, especially for parts of the Midlands and Wales. And then finally, as we head into Sunday, could see a weather front pushing in with more persistent rain as the westerly winds start to power up. Now you can see the upper air temperatures today and overnight tonight. The upper air temperatures are quite warm in the south. Look at that. Low teens, even mid-teens, touching 20 degrees across northern France. And that's that hot plume causing the thunderstorms overnight. Said it will just about skim the south coast for the early hours of tomorrow morning before getting pushed away through the evening. We're all into a fresher average sort of North Atlantic airflow for the rest of the week before we do start to see some warmer air masses push in by the end of the weekend and start of next week. But they're transient air masses within warmer and cooler sectors as we see the jet stream powering up. And after you look at the 2 metre max temperatures to be able to see they do start to dip over the coming days. Said widely today low to mid-20s, even peaking a couple of degrees higher than this UKV is showing, around the 27 or even 28 degree mark. As we progress to Thursday, still could be warm in the east where we do avoid the showers. Thunderstorms in areas of rain could be 24, 25, but by Friday we're widely quite a bit cooler. Look at that, only peaking at 20 or 21 in the east, widely mid to high teens. A lot cooler with a lot more showers around, and that's the same into Saturday. Best temperatures 20, 21, but most areas are down into the teens as we start to cool down as the air masses change, and kind of representative of the time of year as well, starting to exit out of summer. And finally into Sunday, again, could still see 20, 21 in the southeast, but many more regions in the mid-teens as we do see a big weather front pushing from the west with more extensive rainfall, giving temperatures maybe only 13 to 15 degrees for parts of central England. And that pattern of cooler conditions and more unsettled conditions is going to continue. If you look at the latest GFS, you can see the low pressure running in over the next couple of days, giving us fresher and showery conditions. And then the westerly flow opens up into next week. No massive lows yet, moving into not likely to get stormy or massive areas of rain, but generally pretty showery. And you can see in the extended range, again, more ex-tropical systems mixing up in the jet stream, and that could give us more violent lows in the longer term. GFS doesn't do anything too substantial here, kind of oscillates us between low pressure and high pressure, but maintaining a westerly flow. So generally the air masses will be hovering around average, slightly above, slightly below, with temperatures probably around the high teens, maybe just about touching the low 20s, but nothing particularly great. A westerly flow, so showers will never be too far behind, and there will be drier days, but they're most likely going to be few and far between. Another big thing is the cold air is starting to form over Greenland and northern Canada, combining with the hot air and the ex-tropical systems out in the North Atlantic. It could spiral up some big lows in the longer term, and the models will have to determine what happens with those as we do progress forward. If you have a look at the GM now and see what that is showing, again, low pressure running in off the Atlantic at the moment. As we do progress onwards, we do see some tropical systems trying to mix in with the low pressure, and it does go quite violent early next week with quite a big low pressure system, and generally into the longer term, more ex-tropical systems riding along the jet stream on this northwesterly flow, injecting some really quite hot air towards the jet stream. So it does mean there could be some quite warm sectors at times. I wouldn't say spells, as it's only likely to last a day or two, but it could really increase the strength of these lows. You can see the temperature deviation going from around 12 degrees above average within some centre of these ex-tropical systems down towards 6 or 8 degrees below average. So almost a 20 degree temperature difference is just going to power the jet stream. And you can see here on the 300 HPA level, just really strong jet stream coming out of northeast Canada, keeping a very westerly and unsettled pattern. If you have a look at the ECMWF, you see something very similar. Again, low moving through at the moment, and then more low pressure systems moving in longer term, and an ex-tropical system there riding along the jet stream. Here, a bit more high pressure towards Scandinavia, so holding off that low pressure system a bit more, maybe keeping us a little bit drier here. If you look at the accumulated precipitation, still see lots of rain, just less rain falling right in the extended range here, because that low takes a little bit longer to come in. But regardless, staying pretty unsettled and not particularly pleasant. Now to finish by having a look at the ensembles, you can see we are above average over the next couple of days, and then we drop to below average and maybe just about hover around average for the foreseeable future. Precipitation is quite up and down, there's no huge breaks, so likely to be pretty unsettled. and pretty cool, especially when we have those colder sectors moving in. If we look at these 2 meter temperatures, again, not particularly great. A bit of a step change coming up from the mid-20s we have at the moment down towards the high teens, maybe touching 20 degrees over the next couple of weeks, and that, unfortunately, could be it for the summer. This could be our new sort of early September normal before eventually, by the time we get to sort of October, November time, we'll be back down into single digits on some of these days, and we'll be sat there thinking, where has summer gone? And this happens every year, but we are on the beginning of that slow decline towards winter and those miserable conditions we generally do see when the days are short and we see lots of westerly winds and unsettled conditions. We're starting on that trend. Hopefully, fingers crossed, things will improve for at least a temporary period in September, but for the time being, we are heading on a steady slope into autumn. If we do finish by looking at the ECMWF ensembles, it is pretty much the same. Warm at the moment, dropping below average and then hovering around average for the foreseeable future with plenty of precipitation. Nothing massive, indicating no huge low pressure systems have been determined at this stage, but generally quite high precipitation levels, indicating that it's fairly unsettled for the majority of the next couple of weeks. Temperatures do rise a bit in the longer term. That probably is more associated with a stronger southwesterly wind and maybe warmer air getting mixed in because of extratropical systems. But at this stage, not looking at anything warm and dry. For the foreseeable future, could just about nudge in the southeast. We do see a slight pattern change, but the general overview is for more westerly, unsettled pattern with potentially extratropical systems mixing in and giving perhaps some stormy spells at times. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you enjoy the next few days where we do have some dry conditions around and some warmer conditions. And hopefully the showers and thunderstorm risk in the south tomorrow isn't too severe. But if anything does change, if you see any warnings issued, I'll make sure to let you know. As I said, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you again for another video soon.